The Firefly S1 is one of the most unique feeling paddles I have played with in a long time. I'm going to tell you what I think about it and share who I think this paddle is for. So before we get started with the review, I do want to say that Firefly did provide me this paddle for review. No money changed hands. They have not seen this review before it was released. These thoughts are 100% my own, and we're going to get into it because this paddle is, like I said, one of the most unique paddles that I've ever played with. To start with, it is a full foam paddle and it's edgeless, 14.5 millimeters thick. It's a big old wide body, 16 by 8, and it is, like I said, a very unique paddle. Part of that is the way that it's constructed, and the other part of it is the way that it plays. 12K smooth carbon fiber that you wouldn't think you'd be able to get any spin from, but clearly the core and the way this is designed does allow you to get some spin. We're not talking about crazy levels of spin, but definitely an interesting design choice when it came to this paddle. So from the baseline, my drives and serves were just fine. There wasn't an excessive amount of power. I never really felt like I was struggling to keep the ball in on my serves or my drives. Even third shot drops from the baseline came just fine. It's controllable, it has an adequate amount of spin, and the power is there when you need it without having to worry about hitting the ball long. In the mid-court, drops and resets were just fine. I did find that when the ball hits the edge of the paddle, it is losing, and this is a lot of paddles, but I think edgeless paddles suffer from this a little bit more. It is losing a lot of responsiveness towards the edge of the paddle. The sweet spot on this paddle, and this affects your resets and your third shot drops, is right about here. And if you hit it down here in this kind of painted area where this graphic is, you do notice a difference in sound and in the pop off the face. I got a mid-weight version. This paddle you can get in 3 different weights, and I think that helped reduce the paddle twisting in my hand when I was resetting. It does, however, feel like most of that weight is down in the handle, because the balance point, I drew a line here, is right here on this paddle. Hopefully we can zoom in and get that for you. So the balance point is pretty low in the paddle, and so even though this is like, what, 8.6, 8.5 ounces, it just feels fine in the hand. It doesn't feel slow at all. So at the kitchen, the paddle felt fine. I didn't feel like I was popping up any balls that I normally would. I was able to reset any balls that were driven at me while I was at the kitchen. Now I will say that one of the things that I did notice, like I said, is you really have to hit this sweet spot in the middle. I found that if you hit this thing off center at all, you're not going to get what you expected from the paddle. Again, I would say the sweet spot is running right about here. And that's a pretty small area for most beginners to have to hit, especially given the fact that, like I said, where the graphic is, the paddle performs differently and even sounds differently than where there are no graphics. So the construction of the paddle is really good. I like the handle and the grip that they have put on it. The grip feels comfortable. It's very rare that I feel like I can just play with the stock grip, and I played all my games with a stock grip and didn't really feel like I needed to put an over grip on it. I do like the graphics on the paddle. I just think it's a little bit too much. A lot of players are going to hit the ball in this area right here, and when that ball catches right there, the paddle responds differently. And so you're getting a different response from the paddle based on whether or not you're hitting the graphic or not. Again, the design looks great. Maybe shrink it down a little bit so that you have a little bit more of the center of that paddle opened up. The paddle to me feels very stiff. and I don't feel like I'm getting the same feel that I expect from a foam paddle. In fact, this sounds and plays a lot like some older, really stiff paddles, and I was really surprised at how it played. My son, who has a 4.5 duper, hit this and he immediately said, "This feels like a table tennis paddle." So if you have a table tennis background, maybe this is the paddle for you. It's $60, and I think at $60, you know, compared to a lot of these other paddles, it's worth a shot if you have a table tennis background. It's just not for me. I could not adjust to the way that this paddle plays compared to the foam paddles that we have out now, and even the older Gen 3 paddles. It's just a very unique feel that I'm actually having trouble describing, because it plays so differently than anything else I've ever played with before. So while the paddle looks good and I think the handle feels good, I like the graphics, it feels high quality, it just is not a good fit for me. And I think there's probably a niche market for this paddle simply because of the feel of the paddle. Most players are used to a certain feel and sound from their paddle. The wide body on this makes it quite stable, despite the fact that I felt balls were dying on the edge. The paddle didn't twist in the hand. So I think this is good for beginner to intermediate players, especially if you have a table tennis background. So those are my thoughts on the Firefly S1. It's a very unique paddle. It's good value because it's under $100, but I think there's only a subset of players that are going to want to play with this paddle. Hey, thanks for sticking to the end of the video. That makes you an absolute rock star. If you found any value in this, there's 3 ways that you can show me some support. Number 1, you can like, share, or comment on this video. Number 2, if it's available, you can use an affiliate link to purchase the product that I reviewed or another product that I've reviewed in the past. Number 3, you can just give directly to me through my Buy Me a Coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/John Wilkerson. Again, I hope you found value in this video, and I'll see you next time. I think I've spent like 15 minutes just on this part. It's the hardest part. It is the hardest part. I hate doing this.